John Gill, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 4. Reading the verse first from the King James Bible, quote, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor, unquote. Reading now from John Gill's Exposition of the entire Bible, quote, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel, by which may be meant either a man's wife or his body, and it is not very easy to determine which, for the Jews call both by this name. Sometimes they call a woman, which is the gloss says of a vessel unfinished. It is reported that when our Eleazar died, Rabbanu Hakadosh, that's Hakkadosh, would have married his widow, and she would not, because she was a vessel of holiness, greater than he. Moreover, it is said that he that forces a young woman must drink in his own vessel. How drink in his own vessel? Though she be lame, though she be blind, though she is stricken with ulcers. The commentary on this passage add, and the vessels which he has chosen, that is to say, he will or not, he must marry her. See Proverbs 5, verse 15. And again, they sometimes call a man's wife his tent, hence that saving. There is no tent but his wife, as it is said in Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 30. Go, say to them, get you into your tents again. And certain it is that the woman is called the weaker vessel, in 1 Peter 3, 7, because which passage and this where seems to be some argument, the same metaphor of a vessel is made use of in both, and as there, honor of a vessel is made use of in both, and as there, honor in it to be given to the weaker vessel, so there, a man's vessel is to be possessed in honor, and as there, husbands are to dwell with their wives according to knowledge, so here, knowledge is required to a man's possessing his vessel a right. Now, for a man to possess his vessel in this sense is to enjoy his wife and to use that power he has over her in a becoming manner. See 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4, and which is here directed to in sanctification and honor. That is, in a chaste and honorable way. For marriage is honorable when the bed is kept undefiled, and which may be defiled not only by taking another into it, and which is not possessing the wife in sanctification and honor, it is the reverse, for it is breaking through the rules of chastity and honor. But it may even be defiled with a man's own wife by using her in an unnatural way or by any unlawful copulation with her. For so to do is to use her in an unholy, unchaste, wicked, and dishonorable manner, whereas possessing of her according to the order and course of nature is by the Jews in agreement with the apostle called a man sanctifying himself, and is chaste and honorable. And it may be observed that the Jews use the same phrase concerning conjunctional embracements as the apostle does here. One of the canon runs thus: though a man's wife is free for him at all times, it is fit and proper for a disciple of a wise man to use himself or to sanctification. When these things are observed, this sense of the words will not appear so despicable as it is thought by some. The body is indeed called a vessel. See 2 Corinthians 4:7, because in it the soul is contained, and the soul makes use of it and its members as instruments for the performance of various acts, and with Jewish writers we read the vessel of his body. So then, for a man to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor is to keep under his bed and bring it into subjection and preserve it in purity and chastity, as the eyes from unchaste looks, the tongue from unchaste words, and the other members from unchaste actions, and to use it in an honorable way, not in fornication, idolatry, and sodomy, but for fornication a man sins against his own body, and by idolatry he gets a wound and a dishonor. and a reproach that will not be wiped away. And by sodomy and such like unnatural lust, men dishonor their own bodies between themselves, particularly by his vessel, as Gataker thinks may be meant the membrane virile, or the genital parts, which by an euphemism may he so called. See 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 5, unquote. Reading from the King James Bible, quote, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor, unquote. End of John Gill, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 4.